Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. Today is Monday, February 3rd, and in today's update, we're going to be talking about Winter Storm Kade. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. All right, so let's get started. So here, let's start off with the winter storm warnings currently impacting parts of Utah as much as Wyoming. We talked about this storm a couple days ago that's developing. And then we've got winter storm weather advisories in parts of Colorado. It'll swing into Nebraska and then even into Idaho and Montana. Some heavy snow is falling right now in Utah, and it's going to entrench into Colorado. Where I think Denver is going to get about 6 inches from this system, but this will swing down into Texas, believe it or not, where they've got winter storm watches right now in parts of West Texas and extreme northwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And this will go into Oklahoma, impacting the Oklahoma City area. And these will expand over time. So let's take a look at some of the overall temperatures. I mean, yesterday was incredible. There were numerous record highs across the central part of the country. Even Denver hit 74 degrees. Dallas Fort Worth hit 81 degrees. There was a lot of records broken. And the central part, I think Indianapolis hit like 63, something like that. But we've got this really strong cold front, Arctic front, that's diving in from the northwest. And literally, Denver went from 74, and now they're sitting at like in the 20s, and they drop like a rock. By Wednesday morning, they're going to be probably below zero. They're going for -2. That would be a 76-degree drop. That's just incredible. But you can see that Arctic air just entrenching in from the northwest and eventually going into Texas. Let me take it out another frame, and these are the Wednesday morning temperatures. So literally, we go from 81 in Dallas, and we struggle to get above freezing on Wednesday afternoon. That's an incredible drop, and you can actually see where this snow is particularly going to set up, where it is going to set up in West Texas and pull up into the central part of the United States, and eventually get up into extreme parts of northeast United States into New England. If you take it out to Thursday morning, you can actually see predominantly where it thinks a lot of the snow is going to fall, especially under that snowpack. They could be waking up in parts in the teens in parts of like Wichita Falls and West Texas. So we'll go over some of these where I think a lot of the snow is going to fall throughout this video. Now let's kind of zoom into this system. So this starts out at Tuesday afternoon. We've got a developing low pressure system developing off the southwest coast of Mexico, as well as Arctic front entrenching in from the northwest. So as this system pulls in and as this cold air comes down, it's going to dump out some heavy rain and then eventually some heavy snow into West Texas. I mean, I know parts of like El Paso hasn't seen snow in a couple years. San Angelo hasn't seen snow since like December, like 2015. So some of these places, they're not used to seeing this stuff. Lubbock is going to get probably 7 inches from this system. Pretty much incredible. But this is Wednesday morning, and then out ahead of it, there's a warm air aloft, and whereas the precipitation falls, it's going to melt, but there's going to be freezing on the surface, and we could be looking at an ice setup where you could have a mixed precipitation of sleet, freezing rain, and then a transition into snow. And then as this out ahead of it, we've got rain. Now, if we go into Wednesday afternoon around noontime, it's pretty much going to be a beeline across the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So depending on where you live, and this is, as data comes in, this system is shifting slightly east over time. So there's going to be a pretty extreme mark of where a lot of the heavier snow is going to fall. But some of the data is spitting out 6, 8, even up to 10 inches of snow in parts of West Texas. And we've got an ice setup that we have to be paying attention to for just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And this will swing into Oklahoma And I think Oklahoma City will be dealing with 4 to 5 inches of snow itself, and this will swing into a central part of Oklahoma. If we take it out to Wednesday night now that this will swing into Oklahoma and eventually get into Missouri, but on the backside we'll have a transition to snow, at least lighter snow in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Like I said, depending on exactly where you live, I'll probably actually do a separate video tomorrow for Texas and Oklahoma and kind of zoom in into some of these areas because I know you guys haven't seen this stuff in years, but it is going to happen. We've got a pretty good snow setup for West Texas that could entrench at least in the northwest parts of the Dallas Fort Worth area. Now, if we take it out another frame, this system pulls up. Now, this is by Thursday morning now, and Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So again, more snow on the backside of this system, but this will eventually swing up into Missouri and dump some snow into St. Louis area, central part of Missouri. Eventually get into central part of Illinois, extreme portions of Indiana, with a slight setup of a mixed precipitation and central part of Indiana, and this will swing eventually into Ohio, extreme parts of Ohio, and then eventually in the extreme parts of northwest, the northwest of United States. I mean northeastern part of the United States into the upper part of New England. Now, if we kind of zoom in some of the like sleet and freezing rain totals, again we've got a transition into a sleet rain mix where we could be seeing up to a 1/4 inch in spots in West Texas for freezing rain, and then this will spits of freezing rain in Missouri, Illinois, and possibly some heavier amounts as we get into central part of Indiana and extreme parts northwestern parts of Ohio. And then we'll also be dealing with sleet too. So as this all depends on like a 1 or 2 degree temperature, where as this rain falls, there's going to be a warm air aloft because again we've been so warm in this area. So we literally have to go from the 70s to the 20s, the 30s and 20s in this air mass. So there's still going to be a warm air aloft where it's going to tap into, but we got low level cold air at the surface with this Arctic air. It's so dense, it sinks to the surface. So as this precipitation falls, there's going to be a transition where it is going to melt and then freeze on contact, or at least have sleet pellets too mix in. So we've got a mixed bag of precipitation. Now, if we even zoom in to some of the shorter range, like the NAM model, this goes out up to 60, 84 hours. And it actually has that line shifting a tad bit further east going into the Dallas Fort Worth area. So again, right now the latest data has the line pretty much in the central DFW area where we can be hitting 32, 33 degrees and then into the 20s northwest. So typically about 28 degrees is probably much the line in the sand where if it drops to 28 degrees, you're going to have some serious problems on the road, especially in Dallas, where you're just not used to driving in this stuff. So as of right now, it looks like that freezing line sets up pretty much in the central part of the DFW Metroplex of 30, 31, 32 degrees. And so if it stays that way, we just could have problems in like bridges and overpasses and not have some serious impacts. But we'll have to fine tune this system and how much cold air is able to entrench, because there's going to be a major demarcation line, especially as you get into like West Texas, where it's just going to be just a transition to snow a lot faster and be more of a snow event. And then Dallas, as this pulls out, we'll have snow, at least a dusting, could be an inch or two on the backside as it pulls in. So like I said, I'll probably have to do a separate video tomorrow as new data comes in and kind of fine tune and kind of zoom in into the area. But if we kind of zoom out to some of the totals, you can see we've got a bullseye as this right around the low pressure system as it kind of stalls out over time, and you get like again like a flash freeze. These areas hit 80 degrees yesterday, so then they drop in the 20s, even in the teens by Wednesday. So it's a massive drop, and like I said, they're not used to driving in this stuff, and so anywhere from 4 to 5 inches of snow and like El Paso, get into West Texas, even like Lubbock area, San Angelo area. So, there's going to be a swath around like Wichita Falls, out into West Texas, where you could be seeing, 6 to 10, as much as a foot of snow in isolated spots in West Texas. But like I said, just to the northwest of DFW, probably 1 to 3 inches, maybe an inch in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Like I said, I'll have to zoom in into the area tomorrow, but this will swing up into Oklahoma, where I'm thinking like Oklahoma City will have like 4 to 5 inches of snow in areas, and this will swing into central part of Oklahoma, where we got about a 2 to 4 inch snow swath going into central Oklahoma, eventually eastern Oklahoma, and then eventually get into central Missouri, places like Columbia, places like St. Louis is on the edge, and then we'll get into Illinois, again, the central part of the state, extreme northwestern parts of Indiana, and then very slightly into Ohio. I'm not really expecting much for you guys in Ohio from this particular event, but there's going to be a two-prong approach. Eventually, this will get into New England, but there's been such a southeast ridge, and we've got that warm surge. And by the time it actually gets up into the New England coast, much of like Pittsburgh is going to be transitioned into like a wet snow mix, where they might get an inch, if that. But a lot of these areas, and Ohio, West Virginia, I'm not really expecting much as far as snow from this system. You'd have to get into the extreme upper portions of New England and Pennsylvania, upstate New York, into extreme upper part of Vermont and Connecticut, where yes, you could be seeing some heavier snow amounts, as this is predominantly for the Northeast, an extreme New England event. And eventually, as this gets up into Maine, yes, you could be getting some spots of a foot plus as this really digs in and deepens. But this won't be until Friday and Saturday, and leading into this weekend. So this kind of give you an overall view. So if we actually expand the view and kind of give you a big picture of actually what's going on, we talked about the snow event in Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, where it's going to be dumping like 6 inches in Denver, probably a foot west of the city. I know it's heavy rain in Utah, heavy snow in Utah right now, and then a two-prong approach where Kade's going to be into West Texas and dump some heavy snow into El Paso, into West Texas. Again, there's going to be some isolated spots in Texas that could get up a foot of snow from this system, believe it or not. And this will swing into southern Oklahoma, central part, and eventually northeastern part of Oklahoma, into central Missouri, into central Illinois, upstate Indiana, extreme parts of Ohio. Like again, central, south side, not expecting much from the system. You got a warm surge here. So this will transition into all rain on the south side, probably hardly much of anything in the bigger cities, Baltimore, New Jersey, Boston, New York City. I'm not really expecting much from this system through Saturday. But as we get into upstate New York, will we be getting some heavier amounts into Vermont, New Hampshire, and extreme portions of Maine. So that'll kind of give you an overall setup when I'm looking at currently for Winter Storm Kade. Be sure to like this video and definitely share with your friends on social media. Like I said, I'll probably come back tomorrow and do a separate video for Texas and Oklahoma and kind of zoom into those areas and kind of give you a better aspect of what's going to be happening with that storm down south. So I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and definitely catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.